It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you.
Hey, how's everybody doing? My name is Jose Medina, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about marriage, the experience I had with it, and what I learned from it. Now, what's a couple words that come to mind when you guys hear the word marriage? Now, a couple words that come into my mind would be commitment, trust, compromise, respect, friendship, love, and one that people don't really like to talk about, that one is divorce. Now, of course, you can throw some other words in there, but that's just what marriage means to me and what I experienced. But one thing I can tell you is that no one ever plans on getting divorced when they get married, but it happens. Now, I think nowadays people don't view or see marriage as serious as they once did before. And I say that because we have couples that get married and a few months later get a divorce. Now, what's up with that? You know, of course, many things could have led to the divorce, but one thing that always comes to mind is that they probably married for the wrong reasons. And I'm guilty of that. I too fall into that category. I was 19 when I first got married. I was young and I thought I knew it all. But little did I know that I was heading in the wrong direction and was going to be taught a very valuable life lesson. The same day I got married was the same day they shipped me off to basic training. So no, I didn't have no honeymoon, no vacation, no lounging around, none of that good stuff. At first, things were okay. They seemed to be normal. But things quickly started to unravel. It also didn't help that we were newlyweds and my first duty station was Korea. I had already been away from my wife for 6 months, including basic training and AIT combined. And now you're telling me I have to pick up my bags, go to another country, and be there for another year away from my family? We both didn't like the idea, but I didn't have no choice. I had signed my name on a dotted line, so I sucked it up and kept it moving. I was a kid that had to become a man very quickly. A few months after I get to Korea, I start seeing things go south. And I realized that I had made a terrible mistake, and I wasn't ready for marriage. Neither was she. We both thought we knew what it took to be married. There's no instruction manual. There's no one there holding your hand step by step. It's more of a trial and error process. I tried to stick it out, hoping things would change, but they didn't. So I decided it was time to part ways and get a divorce. I believe we did everything that we could to try to save our marriage. We went to classes, we went to counselors, we even attended some programs, but nothing really seemed to solve anything. Just more heartbreak and headaches. And I must admit that those years of me being married was probably some of the toughest times that I've been through, and it literally took everything in me to get through them. Now I can see why some people don't talk about divorce, because it is an energy draining, money consuming, stressful, tiring, long process that takes forever to finish up. And depending on the state that you get divorced in, it might even take a longer time because they got certain laws they have to follow. Nonetheless, I learned a very valuable lesson from this experience and now look at marriage from a different perspective. I know I got married for the wrong reasons and learned that marriage is not something you play with, and that marriage is a secret bond shared between two people that truly love each other. I've always learned from my mistakes and never try to make the same mistake twice. I don't plan on getting married anytime soon, but when the time does come, I believe that my past experience will better prepare me for what lies ahead. Now, of course, not everybody sees marriage the way we see it here in America. We got different countries and different cultures that view marriage differently. Now, my boy Danny here, he's going to explain how his culture views marriage and some of the traditions that they go through. Take it away.
Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, 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 yeah.
What do I know about it? Well, it accounts I was close to being married. When I was 17 years old, living in Japan at the time, I was set up for an arranged marriage. I didn't know at first because it was kept a secret between me and the girl. So what my parents did and the girl's parents did was hire a marriage counselor who helped set up these arranged marriage. They told me he was just a family friend just visiting from another side of the city, so I believed them. So my parents and I went to this girl's house for a family get-together, and suddenly this guy, or the so-called marriage counselor, interviewed me and her separately and about our background status, economic status, and what kind of things we are related to. So we were compatible, surprisingly, and my parents agreed, and her parents agreed that we can, date and stuff, which my parents forced me to do. And then, of course, I said yes because I was naive and stupid, and I thought she was pretty. And then after a couple of days, my dad spilled the beans and said, "Do you want to marry her?" And thought he was joking, but he is serious. It was an arranged marriage. They told me it was an arranged marriage. Of course, I was speechless at first because it just felt wrong, but I said no because I'm still young and I'm capable of finding someone out there that I know I can relate to and get to know better than a complete stranger. But my dad did say, "I don't want to force you to do something that you don't want to do, but it will disappoint the family." But I had to say no because she was a couple years younger than me, probably like 15 or 16. But looking back to those days, it was a relatable experience, and I hope I don't have to go through it or anybody else have to go through what I had to go through because it was so embarrassing.
See, somehow I can't forget you.
People these days just throw the word love around and they feel like they're supposed to say it to somebody, so they say it not at the right moment or when they really, really feel it. And people these days tend to really get bored in their relationships and really tend to cheat on one another. And the most painful thing in the world is to hear that the person you love has cheated on you, and it's something I know all too well. I was with this guy for 3 years, and I was a freshman in high school. He was a senior in high school. And I thought I knew what love was, and so we said it to each other pretty quickly, not really knowing what it was. So that's the start of our relationship, and it was a very emotional roller coaster. We had a lot of breakups, a lot of fights, a lot of makeups. We had happy times and sad times, and it was a great experience, but at the same time very painful. He's hurt me, I hurt him. But last year we got back together again, and it was all good. I was very happy. I was at a place where I understood that I do love this kid, and I felt like I really understood the true meaning of love, and I thought he understood it too, but it turns out he really didn't. Apparently he got, I guess, didn't really know what love was, and he was one of those people who got bored in their relationships and, found somewhere else. And so he cheated on me and pretty much ended things with me, saying that he found somebody else, and it really, really hurt me. I was pretty upset for the next couple months. It still hurts me. I have these walls up now. I have trust issues. I honestly can say I really don't believe in love anymore. It's because people don't mean it these days, so I can't really believe in something that people don't mean. I don't say it as much anymore. After my ex broke up with me a year ago, the one I was in love with, I had a previous boyfriend, and he said the word to me, but I told him that I can't say it back because, honestly, I wasn't in love with him, and I just don't want to say the word anymore because I feel like, you'll just get hurt. It's been a year now since me and my the ex who I was in love with broke up, and it still really hurts. But you know, every day I feel like I'm getting stronger and being able to handle it better. I was a freshman and he was a senior, and we went to different high schools. And at the end of the year, he ended up going to a school in Miami. So that made the situation a lot harder. Long distance is something that's just a very hard experience to go through. You know, we tried to make it work. We had, you know, phone conversations. We would do like little dates on the phone where we would, you know, watch movies together, watch TV together. We would like sleep on the phone together and all that kind of stuff. And then when we could afford it, like if I could afford to go down there, he could afford to come up here, we would do that and stay with each other for weeks at a time. But I think that was the biggest factor we had in our relationship is at the end, either I couldn't handle the distance or he couldn't handle the distance. And I feel like that's why we did have a lot of fights and arguments, is because of the distance. And I feel like at the end, that's what really tore our relationship apart, is because, you know, I'm up here and, you know, I was still in high school. Like last year I was still in high school, and, you know, he was in college down there. And, you know, you just run into somebody, I guess, need somebody else, and, you know, they're right there. So I guess that's what his thought process was, is, you know, end things with the person who's 4 hours away and just continue with the person who's right there. But all in all, it really did hurt. It wasn't a fun experience to go through, and, you know, I'm trying to stay strong and keep a smile on my face, but, you know, at nights I do have my times where, you know, I just miss him, and it's really different between us. We used to be best friends. I told him everything, things that not many people knew about me, and these days we don't really talk. He will probably text me once in a blue moon. We no longer get to have the long conversations on the phone because he refuses to answer my phone calls, and it's very different. It's very hard now because we were so close and I was so in love with him, and it got to the point where it's like he can't even tolerate being my friend. He pretty much, you know, was like, screw you, and, you know, left me for another girl and just, you know, ran off to be with her, and I'm just sitting here like by myself, so hurt by the whole thing. And it's the weirdest thing in the world is he cheated on me and he hurt me, yet I'm the one sitting here crying and, you know, wanting him back even though he cheated on me. And that's like, I feel like there's maybe something wrong with me. Like, the guy cheats on you, aren't you supposed to be like, you know what, screw you, you lost something great? There's many different meaning to people. To me, love is more of a struggle, and it's something that should be taken seriously. Nowadays, the word love is thrown around very casually, and it's lost some of its true value. But anyone who has experienced really being in love can understand how powerful and an emotion it is, and how much joy and pain it can bring to a person.